Where are we, Bing?
Oh, we are in the church, Hillsong Church in Phoenix, Arizona.
Hillsong Church in Phoenix, Arizona. And this is so we're visiting the church today, Hillsong. We'll give you a view of what this is the largest Christian movement in America today. It's huge. And how the church has changed dramatically over the years is fascinating. Lattes and coffee. Okay. Bye for
coffee, free coffee, everything in here.
Yeah. Okay, so we're in church now, right, Bing? This
is the mega
church in Mesa, Arizona. And this is what a church today looks like in America. Since 1975.
I have for you.
What's that?
For I know the plans I have for you, said the Lord.
Yeah, they've got good videos. They have great messages. The people really love the Lord. It is a dramatic difference from when I first became a Christian in 1975. How the church world has changed in America, dramatically different. But this is it. Take it or leave it, or take it or like it. I'm not a big fan of this, but
it is very near to where we are.
Very close to where we are. And the people love Jesus very much.
Very nice people.
It's not my style, but it's a church nearby. And it's they really love the Lord. There's no doubt about it. Okay.
Okay, God bless, and all around the world, worshipers, safe and protected by our Lord.
Let's have a seat.
This This is no ordinary day. Yes? This is no ordinary day. He is no ordinary God. You are no ordinary person. Yes? And this is no ordinary moment because your faith is stirred and God's grace is stirred. Amen? Come on, lightning can strike because the heavenly conditions are right. And if you've got faith stirred in your heart, then the connection between you and God's about to happen. Are you ready for this?
This year, the start of this prayer and fasting week that you're embarking upon. This is Exodus 33. This is amazing. I felt like I should share on this. And Pastor Terry said to me this morning after speaking at one of the other campuses, he said, "That's incredible. I woke up this morning. This year I'm not so much focusing on the Old Testament, I'm focusing on the New Testament, but I felt God say to me, Exodus 33, and I got the campus pastors online said, will you look at Exodus 33? So when I stood up and said, we're speaking on Exodus 33, he's like, okay. So open your ears, people. And I want to stand together for the reading of God's word as a sign of respect. Exodus 33, this is going to be quite long. We're going to read verses 1 to 18 together. So here we go. Then the Lord said to Moses, leave this place, you and the people that you brought up out of Egypt, and go up to the land I promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, I will give it to your descendants. I will send an angel before you, and I'll drive out the Canaanites, the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Go up to the land flowing with milk and honey, but I will not go with you, because you're a stiff-necked people and I might destroy you on the way. I mean, that's not a bit of the Bible we focus on very much, is it? We don't turn that into an Instagram meme, do we? You know, if you want to mess with the head of a friend, Just text them now. I'm sensing Exodus 33:3 for you. You'll be amazed how many won't bother looking it up. They'll just go, thank you, that really ministered to my heart. You're on your own, says the Lord. I'll explain in a bit, don't panic. Verse 4. When the people heard these distressing words, they began to mourn, and no one put on any ornaments. We'll find out why that is in a minute. For the Lord had said to Moses, tell the Israelites, you're a stiff-necked people. If I would go with you even for a moment, I might destroy you. Now take off your ornaments, and I will decide what to do with you. So the Israelites stripped off their ornaments, it's their jewelry, okay, at Mount Horeb. Verse 7. Now Moses used to take a tent, and he'd pitch it outside the camp some distance away, and he called it the tent of meeting. Anyone inquiring of the Lord would go to the tent of meeting outside the camp. And whenever Moses went out to the tent, all the people would rise and they'd stand at the entrances to their tent. And as Moses went into the tent, the pillar of cloud would come down and would stay at the entrance while the Lord spoke with Moses. And whenever the people saw the pillar of cloud standing at the entrance to the tent, they all stood and worshipped, each at the entrance to their tent. And the Lord, this is one of the loveliest verses in the Bible, ready? The Lord would speak to Moses face to face as one speaks to a friend. Isn't that awesome? Then Moses would return to the camp, but his young assistant Joshua, son of Nun, did not leave the tent. You want to know how to get trained in leadership, especially Christian leadership? Spend time in the tent of the Lord. Spend time in the presence of God, the place of prayer.
Amen.
Verse 12, Moses said to the Lord, you've been telling me lead these people, but you haven't let me know whom you'll send with me. You've said, I know you by name and you found favor with me. Well, if you are pleased with me, teach me your ways so I may know you and continue to find favor with you. Remember, this nation is your people. The Lord replied, my presence will go with you. I will give you rest. And then Moses said to him, well, if your presence doesn't go with us, don't send us up from here. How will anyone know that you are pleased with me and with your people unless you go with us? What else will distinguish me and your people from all the other people on the face of the earth? And the Lord said to Moses, I will do the very thing that you have asked because I am pleased with you and I know you by name. And then Moses said, now show me your glory. First of all, there's this interesting response of the people of Israel of stripping off their jewelry, their ornaments. That's there in verse 4 to 6. Their jewelry was, it was like a distraction. It wasn't wrong, but it was risky for them because the thing is their jewelry was their wealth. They got it from Egypt. And if you read the previous chapter to this one, they had used their jewelry to make a golden calf. Right? By the way, isn't it nice to have like a sin, a temptation in the Bible that probably none of us have ever struggled with? Literally, I never, I want to tell you, I'm so righteous in this area. I have never, even for a second, want to make a golden, any kind of golden animal actually. No, it's not just about cars, it's like I want to make a golden elephant, a golden snake, it's never. But they've got their jewellery back, so it can't be completely wrong, right? I mean, maybe they chipped off the ear of the calf and made it into a bracelet. Everyone's like, that looks like a cow's ear on your wife's wrist. No, it's just a bracelet. So the ornaments, the jewelry is the stuff in your life that isn't completely wrong. It's just not helpful in certain seasons. Seasons of transition when God comes and says, prioritize my presence. There may be things you have to lay down. When I first became a Christian, I used to think that the big challenge was to work out what's bad, what's good, and choose the good stuff. Now that's where you start. But after a while, you realize the real question in life is what's good and what's God? And choose the God stuff, because there's a lot of good stuff that isn't necessarily God stuff. And you can half kill yourself doing good stuff that isn't God stuff. Right? And so what might that look like for you? Well, for me, there are seasons when God's saying, hey Pete, I'm really calling you into my presence to prioritize me in a new way, and I have to lay down screens for a while. Like you know that thing. I mean, I have an iPhone, and it tells me my weekly screen usage. Anyone else get that? Man, that's convicting. Like, you think you haven't got time to pray, and then you find out how much, and so there are times I'm not going to use screens for a while, except when I really have to for work, because I want to create a bit more space and time in my life for prayer and seeking the presence of God. The screens aren't wrong, it's just for that season, it's a distraction I'm going to lay down. Food can be a distraction. For some of us, and I'm not about to put a heavy trip on anyone, but some of us, I just want to gently say, sometimes we want God to just miraculously do something in us, but, if food is controlling our lives, it was never designed to do that. Use food to celebrate, but, if you're eating really unhealthy, you will have a kind of mental fog going around, and you want to think clearly, don't get prayer for it. Stop eating stuff that's not good for the way that God's made you. So please don't get condemned on this, but I just gently want to suggest to you, God's into all of it. He's not just into the religious stuff, He's into all of life. And He ministers to you as much through, like, I'm going to get healthy this year, as He does through worship and prayer. He's in all of that stuff. Sometimes relationships can be unhealthy for us. They're not wrong in themselves, they're just not helpful for us in certain seasons. I felt like God spoke to me as I was preparing for someone here, or maybe you're watching online. And He gave me a really clear picture. You've got a bunch of letters from an old relationship, and you're now in a new relationship, and you sometimes, even over the Christmas, go back to those letters. And I felt the Lord speak really clearly. You need to burn those letters, because He's bringing you into a new season. Don't look back into a new relationship. And so I don't know who that's for, but it's an ornament, it's a distraction, it's a risk for you. So I don't know who that's for. I don't want to put a heavy trip on anyone, but if that's you, I felt like that was a word for you. Can I encourage you? I cannot promise you you'll have an easy year. Some preachers promise you that stuff, and they're just lying. They don't know what they're talking about. It's not biblical. Jesus came along and said, you will have trouble in this life. We don't put that on Instagram, either. But what I can promise you as a minister of the gospel is this. Jesus says, I will never leave you, I'll never forsake you. All things will work together for good if you just keep loving me and all the fullness of my purposes. So therefore, if you will walk and talk with God through this year, come what may, the great things and the bad things, He will be by your side every day, every step of the way. You will have a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Listen, we always want God to airlift us out of our problems, and sometimes He does. We call them miracles. But more often than not, He parachutes in and joins us in the middle of the mess. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll fear no evil. Why? You are with me in the valley. Final point is this. I love this. At the end of this story, Moses says the most extraordinary thing to God. At this moment where you'd think, he's a very old man. He could say, I've got a resume to kill for. I'm the burning bush guy, I'm the Red Sea guy, I'm the Ten Commandments guy, I've been around the block, I've seen a thing or two, I'm Moses, I'm in the Bible. Right? And instead, he says, if you are pleased with me, teach me your ways that I may know you and continue to find favor with you. Wow. Some of us here maybe been Christians a long time. We feel like, I kind of know the score, I know how it works. And is it possible that God is just gently coming alongside saying, you don't know nothing yet. I'm going to surprise you this year. If you'll just soften your heart. I want to make you hungry again for my word. And the invitation, if you're going to prioritize the presence of God, maybe it's reading a Christian book, listening to a Christian book this year. Maybe it's listening to a podcast that will help you grow in your faith. Maybe it's getting around people who are contagiously hungry for God, because spiritual hunger is contagious. You get around people who are hungry, you get hungry. It's a really interesting phenomenon. You get around cynical people, you kind of get less hungry. So do what you've got to do to get hungry and stay hungry this year. So I don't know which of those it is. For some of us, it's denying distractions. There's stuff we need to lay down this year. Maybe this coming week, it's a fast to prioritize the presence of God. Lord, I pray for this church. I ask, God, that you would bless them with spiritual hunger. I ask, Lord, that they would get so thirsty for you. I ask you that you would make them uncomfortable this year in a way that draws them deeper into your presence. Lord, I pray for each person here who's got something that is a distraction to them as you call them deeper into your presence. I ask that you would help them to know what it is and how to lay it down. And Lord, I pray for those of us who've got so crazy busy that we don't have enough space for prayer in our heads as well as our schedules. I want to ask this week will be a time of multiple encounters with you. And I want to pray you teach us this week just to pray about the small stuff, not just the big stuff. To know you. We want to know you. We want to be your friends. And Lord, I pray finally for those who just are so hungry and thirsty for you that you would feed them, taste and see the Lord is good. Amen.
Of the beautiful idea or beautiful concept of a preacher as far as the Word of God is concerned in relation to the world.
And it was a beautiful message from one of the founders of Hillsong.
Yes.
From England.
And
we just happened to come in at this time. And Hillsong, their focus has always been a deep personal relationship with Jesus Christ,
and
through prayer,
recognizing His presence.
And we just happened to come in on one of the founders of one of the most famous movements, Christian movements in the past 50 years. So it's amazing we just happened to see that today. Okay, bye for now.
Bye, and God bless you all.
God bless you. Bye.
Bye.